We all had to start somewhere. None of us were born K-slates. We all had to learn the ropes, how to surf, how to go out there in them waters and not end up on Kook of the Day. Luckily, when I was growing up surfing, we didn't have Kook of the Day. We didn't have iPhones. Life was simpler, better perhaps. But now that we do have Kook of the Day, and you can check how good the waves are from a little black screen sitting in your pocket, here are a few beginner tips for you guys just starting out surfing. Now, these are three, I think, super important tips that will help you enter the arena of surfing better, not end up on Kook of the Day, and just enjoy the overall experience. Because one of the tips is about learning these stages and not trying to get ahead of yourself. So, the first tip for a beginner surfer is don't go too small of a board too quick. This is by far the biggest blunder that I see with beginner surfers. They learn on the Wavestorm. They think, all right, I got this surfing. This is easy. They go from the Wavestorm to like a 6'2" Firewire Dominator. And then they realize, oh, wait, surfing's hard. Why do I suck now? And then they quit surfing. That happens to a lot of people. It's funny how, I don't know if it's like a pride thing or ego thing, but even if you're not a surfer yet, you wouldn't know that a small board's cooler. Maybe to see it on the internets and on the TVs, but that is the number one thing I always see when I used to teach surf lessons. People will get pretty good on the INT shout out or the Wavestorm, and then they immediately would want to go to a small thruster board. At least now it's a different where fishes are kind of cool, and it's cool to have like a mid-length board. So it's an easier sell now. But back in my times, you wanted to get on that thruster on those three fins and that 17 3/4 width, and just you wanted to be in the irons. So this is the biggest tip I can give you if you're a beginner surfer is go from the Wavestorm to just a real surfboard of a similar size that's fiberglass or epoxy, but it's a real surfboard. It's not a foam Wavestorm anymore. That alone is going to be such a big gapping progression that once you lock in that stage of riding a real surfboard, then when you go down shorter, and don't go too short right away there too, but as you go down shorter, you'll notice that just the fiberglass, how epoxy or fiberglass works, PU works, is a lot more precise, a lot more critical. It's not as boaty as a Wavestorm. And not skipping that step of going too short, too quick, gradually going down in board size is going to help you with your foundation a ton. It's also going to help you not make a bunch of mistakes early on that you're going to kind of regret, because you're going to learn little handicaps and little lessons and little like things that you're not going to want to have in your arsenal of shredding as you go down in board size. So number one, don't go too small, too quick with your board. Ease it down in length. Go Wavestorm, then go 7'6" or even an 8-foot fun board, longboard type deal. Then you can even just stay there for the rest of your career if you want. A lot of people just longboard the whole time. And really, if you just stay there, it actually is a little easier. Riding a longboard is easier than riding a shortboard. And you might just be like, oh, I want to be like a cool longboarder. That seems like a cool thing. So that's totally fine. But if you want to keep going down in size and become like Kelly Slater, then don't even just go shortboard next. Go like a 6'3" to a 7'0", like big fish, a big ASS fish, I'd say. I don't know if I can even say that on the YouTubes. But go like a big ace fish, like 6'6" pod mod torque, like something like that. And then your next board can be a 5'10" grovelly fish or a 6'2" dominator, because then by that point, you're going to have developed the skills to be able to ride a board like that. All right, the second tip, and it kind of goes hand in hand with the first tip, is be super patient in your learning process of surfing. I'm going to age myself. I've been surfing for almost 30 years. I have my 30-year anniversary in like 6 months. So I've surfed a longer than, some friends of mine, which is just crazy when you think about it. I've literally done something longer than a lot of people have been alive. And I never really even wanted to rush my skills. Like, it was this consistent building up of skills that I never felt like I needed to get better right now, which is interesting to think back because I did surf contests. I was on my college surf team. I was on my high school surf team. I have some sponsors. So I had a kind of a I wouldn't say I was super competitive. I just thought it was fun to surfing contests. And like, that was a fun thing to do. But by that point, you're already good enough. You're not going to be, you might like try to really start pushing yourself or not. But my point is, like, at those beginning stages when you're on the Wavestorm, people go to the small board because they're impatient, because they don't want to ride the Wavestorm longer. They ride the Wavestorm 5 times and they already think they can go down in size. Like, you need to ride the Wavestorm 40 times and then get the same board just in fiberglass or epoxy version. If you're also patient with yourself as you learn, again, I've been surfing for 30 years, just 30 years. It's like 365 days times 30. So you could be a beginner for like a couple of years. Like, if you only surf once a week and you're riding the Wavestorm, that first 6 months, a year, you might just ride the Wavestorm and get really good at Wavestorming and be like potentially a pro Wavestormer. And when you get on like a long board or even like a fun board, you're going to be in a lot better position because you waited and now you understand that next step in your progression from like beginner to intermediate and then intermediate to advanced is still going to be like a long journey. So just understanding that the patience there is only going to make it more fun, and there's not like an end goal. Like, now that I'm surfed for 30 years, I don't think, oh, now I've reached my pinnacle and surfing is concluded. Like, I'm having the most fun surfing of my whole life right now for sure, which is crazy. And I think I'm the best I've ever been in my whole life right now. So even though I have plateaued, I think it's just, this will be the final tip for you here. But just because I really have enjoyed it so much this whole time and understood what it really is, it's not even surfing on the board is only 1/100th of what surfing is. It's being out in the ocean, being in Mother Nature, feeling like that flow state a bunch, being able to access that flow state without, naughty substances, having it be your gym or like even your church, like a spiritual type deal. Like, it's so many different things that if you can just become stoked on what surfing represents beyond just the surfing on the board on a wave, you'll actually understand that it is like a lifestyle. And that's why there are surf shops and a surf culture, and people wear surf clothes that live in Ohio and they never surfed before. And the third tip here, this is like they all go together, but just become a waterman. Like, become someone who's very comfortable in the ocean, in and around the ocean. This could also be just swimming pools or whatever, but for the ocean, it's quite different because this is learning how to read the waves. This is learning about tides and wind, surf spots and rip currents, being watchful of others. Like, I beach lifeguarded, but most surfers in general understand how dangerous the ocean can be. Even on a normal day, someone could easily drown or someone could fall and hit their head or break their neck or something. So it's a super dangerous environment. And the more comfortable you get in that environment, the better your surfing's going to be. And just the more fun you're going to have surfing, the better you're going to progress too. So learn to like a lot of times people are learning too, they don't understand how to catch the right wave. And that is where learning how to read the waves comes from. And you see a wave over here, it's going to break this way. You see a wave over here, it's going to break this way. The peak's going to come this way. And that just comes with time and experience in the water. You can't fast track that. And, keep eyes out on people when you're in the water. If someone's struggling, check on them. There's a lot of just things to be aware of in the ocean, in that natural environment, that just takes years and years of being there, like having kind of surf mentors, people that can tell you stuff, show you stuff. Hey, you go to a spot. Hey, where should I paddle out? Where should I sit? Like, what's the bottom like? Is this better on a low tide or high tide? All spots have different characteristics like that. So each spot is really unique. And think about all the spots in the world. So it's kind of ends up becoming like almost a game of Pokemon, except the surf spots are Pokemon. You want to surf them all. So your goal should be to surf all the surf spots you want. And as you do that, you'll become more and more comfortable in the ocean and start to see like what the ocean for what it really is. And it's like, it ends up being like your home. It's like the super sacred place that you are really grateful for. And a lot of times it could be the only thing left in your life that even makes sense. And you can even go to first support. And it's pretty crazy how this thing that only starts off at this like fun hobby, this thing you think is going to be fun, like hula hooping or like trampoline or something. It's almost like one of those at first. It can become a whole lifestyle and literally change your life. So, all right, guys, I hope you liked my 3 tips for beginner surfers. Let me know if you want to see 3 tips for intermediates or advanced. Maybe that'll be my next couple live streams here. Smash the like, hit subscribe, and be on the lookout for my album Twins in Review. I'm deep in the edit lab. I think it's going to be a really good one. My Machadocado surfboard review by Firewire is my like 7th best video I've ever made. So I appreciate everyone for checking that out. I'm super stoked on it. I worked really hard on it, and it's doing really amazing. So I'm super grateful. So thanks, guys. Till next time. Peace.